Good morning, guys. So I'm just waiting for a few more people to join, and then we're probably going to go ahead and get started here in a couple minutes on the watch list. So far there's not a lot of gappers yet. We do have a nice spike here on ADTX. LUCY has a decent gap as well. But that's pretty much all I'm watching so far. Alright guys, I'm just going to give it about 3 more minutes and then we'll get started on the watch list. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead now and get started on the pre-market watch list. It should be pretty quick this morning since there's not too many gappers to go over. So like I was saying earlier, the main watch for me really this morning so far when it comes to small caps is really going to be this LUCY, which so far is trying to hold above 3. Nice little gap so far on ADTX. It's starting to get a little extended, but so far it's pretty strong. We have this gap breakout level towards 560, and then we have a gap on the daily chart above that level. Maybe a little bit of resistance towards 5. Still watching PEGY from yesterday, which is gapping down, and a few others. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the watch list from last night. I'll just quickly go over all of those, and then we'll go over the rest of the gappers. So the first one on the watch list was PEGY. This one was a little bit choppy yesterday. I ended up trading it on this day when I shorted for this breakdown and ended up covering into this flush. Yesterday I was a little bit busy with SPY off of the open, so I ended up missing this, but it was a pretty nice rejection for the short for this little breakdown. It did hold up pretty well though and offered a pretty nice squeeze towards the end of the day, so that was a really nice little setup for the long and also for an extended short. So pretty nice gap down here. Overall, I'm pretty short biased on this one, but it's pretty tough for me to short a weak open on something like this. So hopefully we get some type of spike and rejection if this is going to set up for the short again. If it does end up trapping people down here and then reclaiming above 4, then I'll definitely keep an open bias still if that $4 turns into solid support again. That's probably the only way I'd be long biased though if that were to happen. For now, I'm leaning a little bit more towards the short side on that since we're looking pretty weak. SNTI was the next one. This is kind of the same situation. If we can pop over 7 with solid support, I'll definitely start to keep an open bias if we can build back up over 7 to 750s, which is kind of the key level from yesterday. We have that big support right here, a little bit above 7. So that's really the only way it'd be long bias is if it were to trap and then pop over 7. For now, I'm leaning a little bit more towards the downside. So if we just pop and reject and stay heavy under 7, we can potentially look for this to pull back a little bit further towards 550, maybe even low 5s if it really does fade. But I have my price alerts set on SNTI just in case. NVIV was on the watch list as well because it was gapping up in after hours, but that move already crashed down. It looks like they dropped an offering, so pretty dirty move there on NVIV. Probably gonna avoid that. GGE had a nice little squeeze at the end of the day. So if this maybe pops over like this 170 level and then if holds with solid support, I'll definitely keep an eye on GGE. It's going to need a lot of volume to get me interested, but if we pop over 170 and hold, I'll definitely keep an eye on that one. Maps, if this maybe pops over like 265, 270, I'll keep an eye on it. A lot of weed stocks spiked yesterday in the afternoon. Uh, Basically, the president is taking away, if you caught like a felony from holding, they're gonna take away those charges. So that's why we're seeing a lot of these weed stocks pop. So I'm definitely gonna be watching Tilray and a lot of those names if they do stay in play. For me on Tilray, that would be back above this 410 level. So if that turns into support, I'll keep an open bias on those. And then we just have the secondary list left on the watch list from last night. AMV, if this pops back up, I'll definitely keep an eye on it. It's kind of a crazier mover. Pretty big range on it as well. So you got to be really careful with something like AMV. But I do have it on the watch list. Beat as well. If this can pop back over 6. Other than that, I would probably just avoid it. We're starting to get some OTC runners. I don't really trade OTCs very often, but it's kind of interesting to see these come back into play. AYRWF is a good example. This one ran from 260 to 4 pretty quickly. JUSHF, same thing. Pretty nice run up. So that might be a new trend if we see a lot of OTCs start to run. PRVB. Alright, so that was pretty much everything from the watch list that I made last night. Just going over the gappers one more time. Let's just make sure there's nothing that I might have missed. So I went over Lucy, LUCY. If we can hold 3, I'm definitely going to keep an open bias at the open to see if this can push higher. Basically, we topped out around this area so far. Let's see, was it 340s? And that is kind of a little level here. But not really a lot of history on this daily chart since it looks like it was an IPO or a newer stock. So we'll see what happens here. I am hoping for the short that this can spike up higher. I would prefer a spike, into the 4s for a really good short opportunity. So far it's holding 3 pretty well, so definitely we'll keep an open bias on this one. There's probably a lot of people looking to long this, maybe risking off of that 290, 280 area, 290, or even 3. So I'm definitely open to that going off the open, but we'll have to see how we react to $3. Alright, and then we have ADTX. Let's go ahead and zoom out on that one really quickly. So this one, it does have a lot of resistance towards 4. This is kind of a big level the last few weeks. So for me on this one, you can see we're pulling into this $4 support level. So if we can hold 4 after the open with solid support and start to hold higher lows above like this 410, 420 area, I'll definitely keep an open bias on this one. But we'll have to see how it reacts as well. It did get a little extended and we're pulling back. And I feel like it still could pull back a little bit further. So I'd be cautious on ADTX for now, if you're looking on the long side anyways, because it looks like it wants to pull back a little bit further. And there's that little pullback. But let's say if it pulls back a little bit further and then later on after the open pops back over VWAP, then I will definitely keep an open bias. For now, it is a little bit on the heavier side after getting a little bit extended. AMBC, let's go ahead and look at the daily on this one as well. So we got a lot of resistance towards 1550 and 16s. Doesn't look like it's trading too much volume. I'll just set a price alert above VWAP in case it stays in play and picks up some more volume. I think that was pretty much it though. I didn't see any other gappers really that I was interested in. Let me go ahead and look at the large cap gappers as well. Alright, so the last thing I want to go over before the market opens is just the overall market, SPY and Tesla. If there's no really good gappers for small caps this morning, I usually focus on options on SPY and Tesla. So obviously we got a gap down this morning. Things are looking pretty weak. The last really like 4 days we've been on a really nice bounce run up after testing that big 360 support level. So today, obviously with this gap down, I'm leaning a little bit more towards the short side. I would hope that we can maybe bounce a little bit and give a nice rejection closer to like 371, 372 resistance. And then if that acts as resistance, potentially look for puts. Or even if it just pops and stays really heavy under 370 and then starts to form lower highs and break under this pre-market support or pre-market low, which was around 367 so far, 368. For calls, I suppose if we held 368, 369 with a lot of support and it looks like it's going to bounce, maybe I'll look for a little scalp. But I would probably be a little more cautious on calls today just because we have all this resistance above from the last few days, especially towards like 374. That's a pretty big level. So I would imagine if we were to get a nice bounce, we would probably reject off of some of these areas. So it'll be definitely interesting to see where SPY opens. I'm probably going to be looking for puts off the open. I'm going to try to be patient, but we'll see what the tape looks like. Moving over to Tesla. This one's been pretty heavy the last 3-4 days. We've had gap down, big sell-off at the open. This one grinded and then big sell-off. The day before that just sold off right at the open again. Yesterday was a little bit choppier. We got a bounce and then a pretty nice pullback. But yesterday was more range bound on Tesla and SPY. So on Tesla, we do have a big support level at 230. Which we're testing 234s. But if we were to stay heavy, I feel like on this daily on Tesla, maybe it could pull back to like, 225, 220s. We have this big support level at 210. So for me on Tesla, I really wouldn't be surprised if it stays heavy and then pulls back to even this support level over the next few days or week. But for today, if we stay really heavy and then break under the support, I might consider getting puts. Um, Maybe off the open if we have a lot of support here and it looks really strong, we can scalp some calls. But just overall, I would be cautious on calls today on SPY and Tesla. Even if this bounces and even if we get a bounce to like 237, I'll still potentially be looking for puts on Tesla. So I'll be patient off the open today most likely, unless I get a really good signal. So that is basically my plan. I'm going to be really patient on SPY and try to let things kind of develop. I don't really want to chase a weak gap down too much with puts. So hopefully we get some type of bounce. Anyways, guys, if you enjoy these pre-market watch lists, please do me a favor and hit that like button. It really helps out the channel a lot. We have about 4 minutes until the market opens. So I'm going to relax for a bit, and I will be back once the market opens. All right, so far we are getting a little bit of a heavier open on SPY and Tesla. We still have to see how they react to those pre-market lows. Tesla so far is did break under that pre-market low, but we'll see if we get any follow through or not. SPY is testing that, starting to test that level. We'll see if we can pull back a little bit further. Pretty nice hold there on LUCY so far above 280. So we'll see if this stays in play above 3. Alright guys, so I ended up getting puts on this breakdown on SPY. Hopefully we can get some follow through to the downside. I have a pretty tight stop here. I'm going to keep my stop around this line right here that I drew, which is around this 368.50 area. So hopefully we get some downside move now on SPY. I did scale out a little bit right here into this drop, but I'm trying to hold most of my position for 365, 364s. Hopefully even 363s would be great. And if it drops down even further, then I can tighten my stop to 368. It didn't really give a huge drop though, so I don't want to move my stop quite yet. I probably could move the stop to 368, but we might get a bounce to retest that level. Hopefully it just stays heavy. Yeah, I think I'm going to actually keep my stop pretty tight at 368 now. I really don't want to see it back at that level. It's kind of stalling out a little bit here, but kind of staying heavy at the same time. So yeah, I really don't want to see this bounce off of this support right here, but there is a chance we might have to retest that 368. So we're going to find out in the next couple minutes here. If we do get a flush under 366, I'm going to sell some more contracts and take some more profits. Hopefully LUCY can make a decent move. We have PRVB also on the scans. Let's take a look at that one. Nice continuation from yesterday. You can see a really nice multi-day flag breakout. Alright guys, so when it comes to SPY, I did take a lot of profits on this 366 support. I just don't know if we're going to get that bigger range today. It might be more of a choppier day. I can still see this bouncing back up and getting annoying, but if you still have contracts, it probably would be wise to just trail it, maybe keep a tight stop at this point. Obviously, we'd need this. It's probably going to bounce off this level, so we'll see if it turns into a lower high and then another flush to the downside, or if this is going to be a reversal to the upside. So far, nice move on LUCY. Alright guys, and also just to show you that SPY trade on the puts, that was a solid trade there. I got the 367 strike on the puts on SPY. You can see I was buying 309, 326s, sold a little bit in the 340s, 350s, 328, and then towards 370s, which was towards the lows. We are staying heavy now though. So let's see if we can break under this 366. Yeah, so far it is trying to stay heavy. There's those 365s on SPY. Looks like Tesla staying pretty heavy too, hitting a new low on the day. That was a pretty solid short setup on SPY today. Pretty much set up perfectly if you were patient enough to wait for it to set up. The pre-market low was 367.70. So we were basically just chopping, but once it gave that signal and broke that support, there was a lot of selling pressure, so that gave me a lot of confidence to get those contracts for this move to the downside. You know, some days on SPY, if you don't get in, or SPY and Tesla, you know, there's some days where if you don't get in at the open, then you almost have to chase it because it just works right away. And then there's other days where we get this chop, and then we get a really nice signal. And then there's other days where it's just really choppy inside day. So the choppy inside days, those are the ones you really have to be careful on, because if you keep flipping sides on that, you can just take, you know, cut over cut. If you're really like flipping on both sides and just getting chopped up. So that's one thing about SPY and Tesla. If you're kind of scalping and trying to hold for bigger moves on SPY and Tesla, those are kind of things that I note on the day, what I'm kind of expecting, and what kind of range I'm expecting on the day. And obviously, the more you watch SPY and Tesla, the better you'll get at that. But basically for me today, like I said earlier, my target on this put was 365s, and then the next big target would be 363s. That really would be my full target. Not saying it's not possible for this to go much lower, but that was basically what I was thinking we would get to today if it did end up fading. Obviously, it's only been 30 minutes, so we still have a lot of time. But typically, a lot of times after like the first 30 minutes to hour, that's when we start to get the chop on SPY. But some nice follow through so far. I wish I was a little bit more patient on majority of my contracts, but it is what it is. I'm kind of shifting my focus over to small caps now because I really do not want to chase puts down here. But if you guys are trailing your position, yeah, I would just continue to hold as long as you can. We do have AEHR that's popping up on the scans, so we can add that to the watch list. ADTX is trying to push higher. Alright guys, so I am shifting my focus over to ADTX now. I'm done with SPY this morning. Man, I was hoping a little bit higher for the short on ADTX, but it looks like it's probably gonna top out there. I don't think it's gonna recover. I feel like it's probably gonna end up staying heavy under 420 and fading lower at this point. If I had borrows and I was watching it pretty closely, I wouldn't mind taking a stab at this in the 420s, risking, 20 cents for a nice drop. But I don't really want to chase it on the short here at $4. It just feels like a chase. So we'll see if it bounces and rejects again, or if it just stays heavy here. But yeah, I probably missed out on that short. LUCY is still holding up pretty well though, so let's see if we can break out on LUCY. I like how it's holding 320 pretty well. There's probably a lot of people risking off of this 317 level on LUCY. So far, it looks pretty good. We just got to see if volume's going to come in now for this breakout or not. Alright guys, so the action is slowing down a little bit here. ADTX is probably going to fade back down to the 360s here. Nice little drop. So that one's pretty much done. I would have shorted that if I was watching it on this reject, but I just didn't have borrows or anything. Wasn't really prepared. I was actually hoping that it would push towards 5 for a really nice short, but it just ended up failing off of this little extension. So kind of unfortunate I missed ADTX. That was a good one so far. LUCY is still kind of chopping sideways. I'm hoping that this one can make a big move. But I still have an open bias for now. As long as it's over like this 320, 325, I'll definitely keep an open bias on LUCY. You can see this little flag that we're forming, so we just gotta wait and see if this ends up breaking to the upside or if it stays heavy and breaks under 320. But hopefully we at least get a new high of day push. TOPS is also popping back up. We have a lot of resistance towards 850 and 9. But anyways, guys, like I was saying, it is starting to slow down a little bit, so I am going to go ahead and end this YouTube live stream. If you guys are in the private Discord, you can go ahead and switch over to the Discord screen share and voice channel. I'm going to go ahead and stream in there for the rest of the day, or at least the rest of the morning. For those that are interested in joining the private Discord room, it does come with the live scans, my live commentary and screen shares, alerts. I do post my watch list there as well in the morning and at nighttime. So all of that is included. We have a link in the description if you want to sign up on our website for the chat room. We do have 30-day subscriptions or a year subscription. So you guys can check that out. Also, we did have a raffle the other day to invite 10 people into the private Discord room for free. So everyone that entered into that raffle, if you're in the public Discord, you guys will be receiving a invitation to the private Discord. So for those that entered, check your messages on Discord. I'll get those out to you this weekend, later on. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to join that public Discord and you can message me on there. My name is under the admin section. You'll see that I'm online. The name is John, and then it says Precision Day Trading next to that. So you'll see my name in the admin section, and you guys can go ahead and send me a message. But not a bad morning on SPY for this breakdown. Pretty clear setup. We got those 365 targets. We'll see if we get more follow through later on. It did kind of reject here again. Also, I'll be watching LUCY to see if we can break out or at least test this 360 area, and we'll see how that reacts. But yeah, hopefully these really helped you guys out for pre-market and for the market open. I'll try to do a couple free live streams next week. So be sure to turn the notifications on. And I hope you guys all have a really great weekend.